This is what, I mean, this is already made.
Are you making a promise you can't keep? Oh,
No. Sit. Then I told you we still productive.
Jack, hold still doing the exam, you can't laugh.
Yes, so they're gonna be able to see the detail.
Oh, yeah, and there's also packets, so you'll have both the packet and the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Options, it's mostly the same. Mostly the same.
Yeah, I think so, some more.
Space for pushing notes, bring it.
Yeah. I had a lot of space, I heard you say that, I had a lot of space on the page, so I said, oh, well, I might as well give you a little space,
Room to write
right?
the original.
Jot down your ideas and then share afterwards. I'm trying to test the Zoom link, so. Hope. How does that work? Okay.
What, who else is it?
Is the lighting okay in here?
Lighting is fine. Yes. I hope that your voice will be louder.
Well, I'm not projecting right now because
Yes, okay.
I'm just talking to you
Got a
guys.
lot of old
Yes,
years.
I actually have to, here, I'll project for you. This is how I would talk, but otherwise I'm supposed to use the mic so the people on Zoom can also hear me.
Right.
So I'm actually gonna be amplified. I'll try to remember, oh, this is the one, right? They told me this one is for the Zoom and this one is for you guys so that they can hear you if you have questions or comments. Although, I mean, according to the registration, I was happy to see that really the majority of people will be present and only a few people will be on Zoom.
It's more fun to.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. The discussion is more lively. Just a second, I'm gonna try to check for Zoom.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's starting at starting at 7:15, in case you didn't know, and I hope, this is the first time, so I hope I won't have any technical issues.
Hello. How's it going? Hello.
Okay.
There should be, it should start at 7:15, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Correct.
I don't know how to,
Is everything okay, Feliza?
yeah, I'm trying to join this meeting. Just, I'm checking to see how the Zoom.
Yeah. Might, mhm. Oh, we had a lot of people enrolling online, but will they actually live here?
For some reason, it says a
Right.
different class, so I'm not sure.
What do you mean?
The class
Not the
that I'm,
same link?
which class? Wednesdays at 7, October 22nd, that's today. Help me.
Do you want to
Just,
admit those people who are waiting?
yeah, I will, but I also want to see what's going on.
Well, they do.
Admit all.
Admit all to the madhouse, right?
Admit all to the wild ride.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and then, why can't you join the class?
I'm gonna.
Do you know my mom? Yes. Yeah.
They figure you don't use
Hello and good evening. Welcome to our Zoom friends. Good to see you. Here I see someone's coming in. Please grab a packet and sit down. We have a packet. Looks like this. We have a packet, but I also have a PowerPoint that you can watch. It's pretty much the same material. Now about this, you can either take it home and bring it back with you, or you can leave it here, whatever is best. As we will be using this maybe for the next 2 lessons. And you can also keep it as a reference because on the second, sorry, mine is backwards. Hold on a moment. About 3 pages in, I have further reading, which is nice. It'll give you some background. So if you want to read at home, you can. I suggest it's a short book, really, only 8 chapters. So pick up a Bible and just pick it up and just get familiar with the text. So we're going to start now with a song. I don't know if you may have heard it. We sing it sometimes at services. There it is. You have the words up here. I'm going to put the mic down, but hopefully you'll hear me. You have the words. Taken from the Song of Songs, chapter 6, verse 2. And we'll go line by line just to learn it, and maybe we'll sing it to start each lesson. Do dia legano, la gota bosen, au gota bosen. Let's sing that together. Do dia legano, la gota bosen, au gota bosen. Lirot bagani, ולבכות שושני. לראות בגני, ולבכות שושני. Let's try that again. לראות בגני, ולבכות שושני. לראות בגני, ולבכות שושני. אנה הלך דודן, עייפה בנפשי. אנה פנה דודן, ומבקשני פרימה. אנה הלך דודן, עייפה בנפשי. אנה פנה דודן, ומבקשני פרימה. From the beginning. דודי ירד לגנו, לגות הבוסר, ארוכות הבוסר. דודי ירד לגנו, לגות הבוסר, ארוכות הבוסר. לראות בגני, ולבכות שושני. לראות בגני, ולבכות שושני. Ana halach dodeh, ayafa b'nashim. Ana pana dodeh, u'mbakshenu imam. Ana halach dodeh, ayafa b'nashim. Ana halach dodeh, u'mbakshenu imam. Dodi avad legano, la ugot haboseh. Ugot haboseh. Beautiful. Thank you. So I'm just gonna, it's so nice to see familiar faces and new faces. I remember faces, but you'll have to forgive me, I kind of never remember names. So, yeah. So if you have comments and questions along the way, please state your name before. I think it would also be helpful to everyone to get to know each other. Just state your name and then your question or your comment as we go along. Some of you may already know me. But I'd like to introduce myself again, also in the context of this lecture series. And tell you a little bit about me and about my lifelong love affair with the Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim. And I hope that my love of Shir HaShirim might rub off on some of you. Just curious, how many people have read it before at some point? Okay, lovely. All right. That's all right, because every time you read it, it's new. It's a new thing. So here we go. My name is Feliza. Hello. I joined Temple Sinai over a year ago, last summer, when we moved here, when my husband became the rabbi. And I was actually born and raised in New Jersey. But until moving to Rochester last year, I spent about 30 years living in Israel, absorbing the culture and the language and the love of the language. I studied musicology and literature there at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, and I got my master's in expressive arts at Tel Aviv University with special focus on a psychological analysis of the arts. And I first encountered Shir HaShirim that 30 years ago at Hebrew University. I was fresh out of Ulpan. Are you familiar with Ulpan? Does everyone know what that is? That's like the immersive Hebrew learning program, spoken Hebrew. I don't know, is anyone coming out of the Hebrew program or Hebrew class? Oh, wonderful. Good, because this is going to be a little bit of a Hebrew class as well. We're gonna try to roll around in the language a little bit, appreciate the original language. I want everyone to hear the original language and then go into a deeper study of it. So yeah, so I was fresh out of Ulpan. I barely had a grasp of spoken Hebrew at the time. And I said, hey, yeah, I'll take a course in biblical Hebrew. Why not? They were offering it as one of my electives. It was a study of the Megillot, the scrolls, among which there was the Book of Ruth and the Song of Songs. And I will admit it was a struggle, but it left a huge impression on me. I fell in love. I fell in love with the Song of Songs. I didn't understand the thing in class. Oh, okay, I'm being hard on myself, but it was like a first encounter with the language and the music of the language. And first and foremost, it was just encountering the sound. And what is poetry after all? What is poetry? What differentiates it from prose, right? It's not just about the meaning, it's about the music and the metaphors, et cetera, et cetera. We'll go into that. So, yeah. So, just don't want to forget to mention anything. Yeah, so I think that was precisely because I was so new to the language that it really affected me. And also my mind was still very sponge-like back then, so I really just drank it up. And so in the first place, first it was about the sound, and then it was about the meaning. So I hope that we're gonna start that way too. I don't know, I'm sure that there are many different levels of Hebrew from nothing at all to, I don't know, intermediate to advanced, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In fact, I think that the people who don't know any Hebrew at all are at an advantage, because you can really encounter the sounds fresh. And then, of course, as you go deeper and learn the meanings, you start to appreciate the wonderful word plays that Hebrew offers, because of the special character of Hebrew, the way the letters, the way the words are formed, and the way the characters work together in like in shoashim, which are roots and everything. Anyway, we'll get into that as well. Don't be intimidated. It's not going to be it's just only where appropriate, I'm going to bring some Hebrew examples. So, of course, now of course, I have to say as well, I'll be reading it with a modern Hebrew accent. Nobody really knows how the Hebrew sounded originally. You have nikud, right? The little dots and lines which help you understand how to pronounce the letters. But those two were late additions, because originally the scrolls didn't have all those dots and lines. So we could be misreading things, first of all. And as modern readers in recitation, we might be pronouncing it wrong too, because modern Hebrew has taken, I have to admit, it has taken more the Ashkenazi accent than the Sephardi accent. And some people might say that the Sephardi accent is actually even more authentic, because they keep the hets, the sounds, they differentiate things that we might not differentiate, like het and kaf sound the same to us. To us, I'm sorry, I'm saying us, I'm generalizing here, but to, modern Hebrew speakers, we don't differentiate as much. So, but in any case, we still will get a nice idea. It's still wonderful. We'll try to, roll around in the language a little bit and get at least an idea or an approximation of what it sounded like. And then, of course, we'll go into a deeper dive and just try to decipher the meanings of the metaphors, the figures of speech, the images and recurring motives, and the archaic tropes. These are from a totally different time, a totally different culture. How do we understand all the things that they're referring to, and can we? Sometimes we can. Most of it is conjecture, and how is it relevant? Can we still identify with it? I'm just opening these questions as we encounter the text. So I hope you'll enjoy getting to know Shir Shirim. I never get tired of it, and I meet this poem anew every time I read it. And if you're familiar with the famous Greek philosopher Heraclitus, said, "No person ever steps into the same river twice, for it is not the same river, and it is not the same person." I may be reading what appears to be the same text, unchanging, at least since it was canonized, unchanging, but I will always read it differently each time. And it's also a matter of perspective, like looking at a sculpture. If you walk around it, it may change and look like something entirely different. So I will admit I don't have any definitive answers. I won't, but I can offer many thought-provoking questions for you. And I believe that poetry actually lives in the questions. And all the beauty lies in the fluidity and the multiplicity of the meanings we can find there. So I encourage you to keep an open mind and remember that there is no one absolute truth in interpreting the text. It can vary from scholar to scholar, from age to age, from sage to sage. But most importantly, our own individual personal readings can vary from one moment to the next too, depending on how we encounter that text in any particular moment in time. So your input And your ideas and questions are most welcome. And let's see. And before I'm going to go into a historical, I promise we're gonna get to the text. It's just, this is the first lesson and I really wanted to give us some background so we know what the world that we're getting into. But we might as well, since we're talking about the text, let's see, can you see? I'm gonna move this, sorry. Oh, wrong one. Forgive me. This one. So let's do a little blessing before we encounter the text or even talk about the text. Let's read it in Hebrew and then in English together. Are you ready to do the blessing with me? Take a moment. Take a moment to find yourself, settle yourself in your chair, presence yourself, center yourselves, and get ready to meet the text. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher ekshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asot b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of all, who follows us with mitzvot, commanding us to engage in the words of the Torah. Oops. Okay, so before we dive into the text, a note on the translations in the packet. My translations here are based on a combination of different English versions of the Bible, as well as a few poetic yet still very learned interpretations. But for the sake of our learning experience, I may have chosen more literal choices instead of poetic, but if you want, these two are really beautiful. This is Marcia Falk. It's in the packet, and it's also, I can send it to the people on Zoom later. You can all get a digital version of the packet. I'll have the digital version of the packet sent to your emails. So Marcia Falk has a beautiful poetic version, and husband and wife, Hannah Bloch and Ariel Bloch, have another very learned and poetic version, and also Robert Alter, but I don't have that one. I only have a digital version, but you have it in your packets. Okay. So, as beautiful as those poetic ones are, which I love so much, I have to say that they do create a particular interpretation. So it limits a more open reading of the text. So that's why I'm not sticking with any one interpretation. So here we go. This little overview. Who wrote it? Anybody know who wrote it? What's that? Solomon? Supposedly. Supposedly is the key word. Okay, good one. So traditionally, King Solomon, Shlomo, Melech HaMelech Shlomo, is believed to be the author. In fact, he's believed to be the author of 3 books. Are you familiar? Does everybody know? Just checking. Okay. No, it's not a quiz, don't worry. So there's Song of Songs, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes. These are all attributed to Shlomo. And the Midrash likes to say traditionally that he wrote them at different times in his life, reflecting the different perspectives from a young man to a middle-aged man to someone from Mahomim, how do you say, from the heights of age. So we have Song of Songs was written during his youth, obviously, because it's romantic, there's unrestrained emotion and youthful intensity. And Proverbs was composed in his middle age because it shows maturity and wisdom based on experience. It's didactic, gives advice on life, family, justice, the traits of a ruler in his prime. And Ecclesiastes was composed in his old age, as it presents a tone of weariness, recognizing the vanity of worldly pursuits. He speaks as someone who has seen everything. And I quote, I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity.
All is found.
All is vanity. Havel Havelim, Havel Havelim. So, when was it written then? if we assume that Shlomo wrote it, then it's it was written 10th BC. However, of course, for the less, how do we say, for the less devout, the philologists and the historians, the ones who check the cultural background and really dissect, the philologists who look at the language and how it evolved, comparing it to different texts, have found, and I don't exactly understand how they figured it out, but they figured that it was actually, at least in its current form, was finished around the 4th century BC. And most likely was a compilation of shorter works that were kind of compiled and put together and revised several times over a period of centuries until it came into its kind of crystallized, canonized form that was brought into the Bible. And in terms of whether it was part of a larger literary tradition, some Egyptian and Near Eastern scholars say that it bears a lot of similarity to ancient Egyptian love poetry, in that it has all this natural imagery and metaphors, and the way that it compares love, the way that the lovers describe each other or have sort of dialogues, they're very similar. And the Song of Songs is also said to have influenced Arabic wasp literature, which is wasps. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's not literature. It's a poem in which the poet describes their beloved from head to toe. It's a very particular form, and you'll find that appearing here. So the question is Song of Songs a secular love song? And if so, why is it in the Bible? Very unlike all the other biblical texts, it doesn't focus on law, history, or prophecy. And it has no apparent I would argue, but a lot of scholars claim it has no apparent intertextual references to the other books of the Bible, like the stories, the histories, the characters. But I do find it hidden in there. Some would agree with me. And what else? There are no explicit references to God. So, sorry, I'm just checking to make sure everyone's with me here. Good. What other book in the Bible makes no reference to God?
Esther.
Esther, that's right. The namesake of our lecture series, ROSH-ESTHER, how appropriate. But so where is God? I don't know if you guys studied, I don't know if Rabbi Orr talked to you about Esther, and if in her name is hidden the secret. Setet, Samet Tedrash, okay, sorry I'm getting into this, but I'll just, as briefly, I want to say that it's like Aleph Setel, Esther, God is hidden. God is hidden. He's hidden in the text. He's there. Just have to figure it out. So if God is hidden in the text, in Esther, could God be hidden? Where is he hiding in Song of Songs? Is he hiding in Song? Is she, he, it, they? Are they hiding in the Song of Songs? And how did it become part of the biblical canon? Let me see if I included it here. You might have it in your packets, so I'm going to bring the packets up. Where did we put that packet? I have some references. On page 6. So the entire Hebrew Bible was canonized over a period of 4 centuries. I'll be reading from this, but I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss any details. So it was canonized from around between 500 and 100 BC. And the Song of Songs is believed to be one of the later editions. And there are even rabbinical debates as to whether the Song of Songs should be included in the canon at all. If you're familiar are you familiar with Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva was one of the main proponents of Shira Shirim, and was pivotal in its canonization. He made a famous statement, I think, okay, I put in Rashi's in the book, so I'm just gonna read it to you. He says in the Mishnah, when he's arguing for Shira Shirim, for the whole world is not as worthy as the day on which the Song of Songs was given to Israel. All the writings are holy, but the Song of Songs is the holy of holies. Shira Shirim is the Kodesh Kodeshim. That's a pretty strong statement. He passionately defended its sanctity, insisting that love between man and woman is an allegory for the love between God and Israel. To read it only as erotic literature was to profane the sacred mystery. And just a side note on Akiva himself, you could say that love between people was one of his highest values. He's the one who said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. This is the greatest principle in the Torah. Like, that is the main commandment. You can someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I understand his theology was love your neighbor. Love between people was the highest of high. And other interesting fact. Do you know about his relationship with his wife, Rachel? She sacrificed. Actually, they hardly lived together. I guess their love was a kind of sublime love as well. So what happened was, we don't have a lot of time, so I don't want to go too far in the story, but she was born wealthy, and he was a lowly shepherd. He didn't have any education. And at age 40, she met him and saw in him a great gift. He's and so she said she wanted to marry him. Her rich father did not approve and cast them away. And for 12 years, she sent him to study for 12 years, to become a Chacham Gadol. And then he came back and she sent him away for another 12 years. So they hardly lived together. And their love was kind of a sublime love. I'm trying to think, has there any relationship with that? And the fact that he's elevating the Song of Songs, which otherwise would look like simply an erotic love poem, is actually a sublime poem of a different kind. It just came up to me. And this is what Rashi says. He says, oh, there's another one, Midrash Rabbah. This is another Midrash, which is several centuries later, in the seventh century, like 7 centuries later, 5 centuries later. Rabbi Akiva's words, I guess they reverberated through the centuries, and in the Midrash on Shira Shirim, they say, had the Torah had never been given, the Song of Songs would suffice to guide the world. That's a powerful statement too. Can you believe that? We're gonna get to this text and figure out why. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I just ask, wow, how is it, right? So, okay, and now let's think about the Kabbalists a little bit later. Where do we encounter Song of Songs in liturgy? Can you think? Does anybody know?
Sabbath bride.
Let's say the
Sabbath bride. Right?
Sabbath bride. Good one. Yes, that's correct. Every Shabbat. We don't. There's no. Depends. The Ashkenazis don't generally sing it every Saturday, but the Sephardi liturgical practice is to sing it every Shabbat. They sing it every Shabbat. And so they actually have it in their liturgy. But we have it in the form of it was very important to Kabbalists. The whole Kabbalat Shabbat, the welcoming of the bride. I don't know if you ever heard, because my husband talks about it all the time. He mentions it a lot. So Kabbalat Shabbat was always a routine part of prayer, but it was the Kabbalists who raised it to this really festive thing. It was just another one of the prayers, right? That you just came in. But they really elevated Kabbalat Shabbat to what it is, and it's strongly related to that. So when Shlomo Alevi Akubetz composed Lecha Dodi as kind of the climax of the Kabbalat Shabbat, it's when we greet the bride. It is that symbol of the divine union. And so they kind of see that in Song of Songs, okay? Let's keep moving on, I'm taking too long, I'm sorry about that. I could go on and on, but we're gonna get to. We're gonna get to the text finally, thank you. So the thing is that, once again, having said that, so the strong argument of no, actually, it's an allegory for the divine union between God and the people of Israel. Between the divine and the soul. This is the defense of Song of Songs. However, having said that, interestingly enough, as we come closer to our contemporary times, once again, God is being taken out of Shira Shirim in modern analyses. They're looking at it again, once again, in our times, as simply a love poem. So it's all like what I want to say is that some people look at it simply as a work of art or as a historical artifact, piece of literature. And then some people might see it as a little bit of everything, So in our postmodern era, everything goes. And so let's get to it. And that's why I didn't want to, I brought all these things together, but I don't want to put any one definition or any one answer about what Shira Shirim is all about. So I just want to break that. I just want to deconstruct that again. And I want everyone to, as much as possible, encounter this text fresh. So what we're going to do, let me go back to the text. Excuse me, I'm trying to find here it is.
What I keep thinking,
Can I give this to you so that,
sorry.
That's all right.
That important for my.
but I just want to have the microphone there so that for the benefit of.
I keep thinking of the Beatles. Love is all you need.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the title.
Lovely, that's the sentiment, right? I guess, yeah. Just couched in a different time period, in a different, culture, but in the end, what's the sentiment? Let's see. So let's start by reading the first line together. I'll read it out loud and then I want you to, I'll see it on the screen. We're going to read it slowly. Verse 1. Are you looking on? You can look at the screen or you can look at page 5. Shir Hashirim Asher LeShlomo. Let's do that together. Shir Hashirim Asher LeShlomo. We're going to do that again, slower. Shir Hashirim Asher LeShlomo. Okay, let's stop there. And I stopped there because it's important. It's the opening. What does it mean? I'm going to. Okay, there it is. Oh, forgive me. It's not moving. There it is. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. We already mentioned it before. Is it really Solomon's? Any ideas? Like we said, it's attributed to him, but the philologists would say otherwise. Why do you think Why do you think they attributed to Shlomo?
Did he write poetry in general?
Well, you see, he's also attributed to he also is thought to have written Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, which definitely has poetic resonance when you read it, but they just have a different purpose and tone. So he has been attributed to writing other poetry, other kind of poetic language. Any other ideas?
Not unusual for national readers to write poetry or to have poetry attributed to them,
Okay.
whether it's Stalin
If I
or
could just-
Benjamin Franklin.
Yes, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just saying that it's not unusual for national leaders who are very famous and who can do everything to believe that they also can write poetry, whether they do it or not.
Right, so, can you say that briefly? Sorry. For the Zoom people.
Yeah, I was just saying that it's not unusual for national leaders to be said to be the authors of poetry. Stalin was a poet. Yeah, he was a poet. There were kings that were poets. There were Arab leaders who were poets, and so it's normal.
So it's in order to exalt the high leader, to make them look,
Yeah, it's another power.
yeah, powerful and wise. Shlomo is known for his wisdom, if you remember. And we'll talk more about that later. So it's to exalt Solomon, perhaps, this beautiful song, attributing it to him. Could it be if I may offer, could it be also the other way around? Right,
It must be a good poem because.
would you like to say something? I'm sorry about the microphone business. It's just helpful.
That you're saying it, that so people would think, wow, this must be a good poem because Solomon wrote it.
Right, he was a wise king. There must be a reason. Must be a reason that he wrote it. We must read it and try to discover the wisdom in it. Oh, I wonder, maybe one person can offer to move it. Can you be the one?
I can be the,
You,
if you,
whoever wants.
Yeah.
Just decide amongst yourselves.
There's also the sort of humble trend of removing yourself from these kinds of works. The trend all through Jewish mysticism of removing yourself from it to kind of push down any sort of ego.
Okay, I'm trying to understand. I understand the concept. In what way is it, how is,
It sort of merges you with the Jewish tradition without inserting yourself and your name into the work itself. So it kind of makes it a work of Judaism rather than a work of a single individual.
okay. So that's to say that Shlomo didn't write it.
I would say if, someone else wrote it, they might attribute it to him to remove themselves and kind of,
Oh,
to the
the
people.
original author.
yes, the original.
Ah, to humble
kind of give it
themselves
to the
and to
people.
give it, okay, nice, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, because in the end, somebody had to write it, right? Or some people had to write it. But I think we may never know. And
does it really matter?
does it really matter? But it's interesting, it raises a question simply because it opens that way. That's the first thing it says, it says, Shir HaShirim, Asher Shlomo, our attention is drawn to it, so just had to bring it up. It raises a question. And, so Rashi has an interesting, and I don't think I put this in the packets, Rashi has an interesting interpretation, which is, it's not Shlomo the king. Let me read what he says, okay. Our rabbis taught, said Rashi, every Shlomo because they were at a loss to explain why the scripture did not mention his father as it does in Mishlei and Kohelet, which is in Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, they always say, Shlomo ben David, that is Solomon, son of David. Here it's just Shlomo. So is it Shlomo? Maybe it's a different Shlomo. Could be another Shlomo. I don't know. So he says, because it actually means, it refers to a king to whom peace belongs. Who is that? Who is that? Who is the king to whom peace belongs? The King of Kings. Hashem. So that's what he's suggesting. It's not Shlomo, it's the king of peace, of wholeness. And he goes on, Rashi goes on, it is a song which transcends above all other songs, which was recited to the Holy One. Blessed is he, by his assembly and his people and the congregation of Israel. As Rabbi Akiva said, the world was never as worthy as the day that Shir Hashim was given to Israel. Shir Hashirim is the holiest of holies. So he quotes Akiva again. So what is the meaning of Shir Hashirim? Shir Hashirim. What's that duplication? What's that the repeated Shir Hashirim? Does anybody know what that does?
Superlative.
Yes, very good. Superlative. I had it called out. Yes, I knew it was. You wanted to say it. Yeah. You know what? You can also call out. I can. If it's a one word thing. Or I'm sorry. I'm learning the technology here. What works and what keeps things flowing. So you can call things out and not just repeat. If it's unless you have a long thing that you want to say and I have difficulty paraphrasing.
But also all the SH sounds, which
Ooh,
create.
go. Do it. Yeah, that's good. You're getting to my next point. Good. You're good. Good.
All those SH.
Press the button.
All those SH sounds,
It's not working. So all those S.
Which sort of are like shalom, they're peaceful, they're the rushing of the stream. And there's all of them in the 4 words. Plus the verse has a rhythm. So it's a very flowing.
Beautiful. So Shir Hashirim Asher Shlomo. Right, it has that watery flowing sound. Does anybody know what that's called in poetics or in phonetics? Oh, actually, yeah, onomatopoeia is interesting, but the word water isn't in there. But onomatopoeia is when the word sounds like what it represents, like, sorry? Bush, yeah. That's an onomatopoeia. Then we might find some onomatopoeias. Okay. There's something, it's called, it has a few words, alliteration. Alliteration is when a letter is repeated. And specifically when it's an S or a sh sound, it's called sibilance. Sibilance. So we have here an opening that's very full of shir, shirim, ashir, shlomo. Yeah, here's someone who wants to say something.
I look, it's not.
Press the button long press, and it lights up.
I'm looking at the Hebrew Song of Song, which is Solomon's, the Shalom, the Song of Song, which is peace, is that the root word? So it's sort of love is peace kind of thing.
Yeah, love is peace, love brings peace, love is beautiful. So, there was one other question that I saw, one other interpretation, which is, maybe it's not by Solomon, but rather for Solomon, like it was dedicated to him. Okay, another thing that I threw in the mix. But yes, peace, the sounds of water rushing. And see where else you might find it. I think it's a theme here. We'll look for more shin. Shin is the letter shin. Shir Hashirim Asher Shlomo. And Shira Shirin being the superlative song of all, the greatest song ever of all times. So we can move on and read the next verses. I'll go back up, so we have the next verse. Yishakeni minashikot pihu. Just that. Yishakeni minashikot pihu. Okay, let's go back and say from Shir Shirim again. Shir Shirim Asher LeShlomo. Yishakeni minashikot pihu. Yes, Yishakeni minashikot pihu. The shin is here too. And the rhythm is here, that we said that was that kind of that lilting rhythm. What does that lilting rhythm do for you? We'll keep going. I'm just throwing it out there. You can speak about it later. So
Moves it ahead.
Hmm?
Moves it ahead.
It moves it ahead. Okay, yeah, that could be, yeah, we can see that. So there it is. Back to the English. Let him make me drunk with the kisses of his mouth. Okay. Now this is where we have a little word game, which is lovely. I put that there. Actually, for lack of space, I wanted to say, let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth. So the first word, yishakeni, neshikot. If you know anything about Hebrew, you see that nun, I'm pointing, nun, shin, kazak, neshik, neshika, yishakeni. They have the same root, okay? Yishakeni means neshikot pihu. The pshat, the literal meaning might be taken as he kisses with the kisses. I want to be able to get through this. He kisses, let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth. There are many ways to understand it because the verb tense here is questionable. So just bear with me. I'm going to give you a few options and ways to understand this. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth. Now the hidden word here, I shouldn't have put it there. I shouldn't have. That was supposed to be the surprise. The first reading that you read, you would think he's saying, let him kiss me, yeshikeni, but yeshikeni also has another meaning in Hebrew, and maybe a little more archaic, means make me drink. Yeshikeni is like to ply me with libation, ply me with drink. Intoxicate, yes, but not, but not strictly. See that it's not strictly wine, it's like any liquid. Give me drink. Lashkot. Like you do that in your garden as well. It's the same verb, but it's also neshika, which is a kiss. Interesting, the connection. So I think that they're making a word game from the beginning. Neshikeni, neshikot pihu. And then the next line, let's read it together. Ki tovim dodecha yain. Ki tovim dodecha miyain. Yishakeni mineshikot pihu. Ki tovim dodecha miyain. So you have simultaneously in the first word, it's both a kiss and an intoxication in one single word. It's beautiful. Yishakeni mineshikot pihu. It's like one of those pictures, those pictures where you can either see two faces or a vase. Can you see them both at the same time? I don't know. Kitovim dodecha miyain. Dod. Does anybody know, like from Kabbalat Shabbat? Lecha dodi. What is dodi? Dod is, kala is bride, which we'll see here. She appears. Beloved, lover. Has different translations depending on the nuance. Different people like to assign it different names. You can decide what you like better. Beloved, lover. But here, what's interesting in the Hebrew, because it's like she's saying, Ki tovim dodecha miyain, It's plural. It's not you are better than wine. She's saying your dodim, your plural of dod, is better than wine. So it's been interpreted in many ways. Any ideas? Why is it plural?
There's more than one way to show them.
True, more than one way to show it. It means, I think, because I want to get to the next part, but I'm just gonna throw out, I wrote affections. So many people have written so many different things. You're loving, your love, simply love. But something in it makes me think of something more physical even. She's already talking about kisses and, kisses, affections. It's very, what do you think of that opening? What do you think of the speaker? Who's speaking here? Who do you think? Like, imagine you don't have to know who it is, but can you picture this person? Can you feel this person? What kind of person it is? Female, male?
Well, someone who's besotted, they're someone who's besotted.
Okay. Someone who's besotted.
For me, it's a woman, but it's his
Could
now,
be.
his now. Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm gonna leave it open. You can feel it, generally, yes, it's thought of to be a woman talking to the lover. Now, also again, with Hebrew text, verb tenses, especially biblical ones, it's sometimes questionable. Is it future tense? Is it past tense? Is it conditional? Is it a command? Is she saying he will kiss me? Or he will make me drunk, or he made me drunk, or I hope he makes me drunk, or she's telling him, make me drunk with the kiss. Which one is it?
Beth and I do some studying together, and there's a biblical tense. Our category called the imperfective, which is this starting with the yud.
Is it working?
Imperfective.
Press it really, press it long to press. Sorry, I just would be helpful, sorry. So
Imperfective?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Imperfective. It's a biblical verb tense that for third person starts with the yud. And what we have fun translating it, because it's just anything that hasn't happened yet. So it could be let him, or if only he would, or I would like it.
He's doing it and will continue.
Yeah, so it's one of those weird tenses. But this is poetry, so that we have people here who write poetry. There's several in the room, and that's the whole point of poetry.
Yeah, so what is the question? I'm just bringing up the question so you can feel what it means, what it sounds like to you. Is it a command? Is she commanding him to do it? Is it wishful thinking? Is she imagining him? Is he there? Is she imagining that she's imagining that she's telling him this? There's so many possibilities and I'm just throwing them out. Yeah.
It sounds like someone who's already experienced it before. Cause your affections are better than mine, like I know how this will feel.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so if any didn't hear that, it's hard for me to paraphrase so well. So apparently she's known it before. She's known him before. It seems this way. What do you think about this in terms of the female voice, the gendered female voice of this time or in this context? What do you think about that? Transgressive?
Well, yeah, women didn't,
Was it allowed?
right, women were not supposed to be like this up until very recently, right? Women.
And yet she speaks so boldly. So, on the one hand, is this intimate? This is where I like to talk about the poetry. Is this an intimate moment or is this a very public moment? It's a poem in the Bible. We're all reading it for centuries, countless people. And like, how intimate is it and how public is it? How universal is it? how personal. Yeah,
I think of the word desire,
yes,
like it's like permission for desire,
permission for desire,
you know, it's okay.
it's okay.
It's human.
Is that what you're saying the Song of Songs is doing? Beautiful, I love it. Um. So, let's. Hold on a moment, so my question to you is, okay, let me see if we can get further, if it's worth us to keep going, or just stay here for a minute. Um. uh, So, let's keep going. Let's read on just a little bit, just to finish up until, let's finish this page, and then, L'reach shmenecha, oh, sorry. 1:3, verse 3. L'reach shmenecha tovim, shemen tuvak shmecha, sorry. Al ken alamot ahavucha. Let's continue. Moshecheni acharecha narutza. Havieni hamelech chedarav. Nagila venismecha bach. Nazkira dodecha miyain. Here we have that, dodecha miyain again. Meyashrim ahavucha. I know we're going fast because we don't have a lot of time. I just wanted you to hear it because we're just gonna look briefly. Who, I see some comment, yeah, desire, yes, and perhaps to be overcome. I'll read your comment in a moment. Sorry. Since sorry. It's a little bit tricky. Oh, there it is. Okay, line 1-2, Gail, I think says, desire, yes, and perhaps to be overcome, not as in power, but as in reaching a higher blending. Okay, nice. So let's move on though. So you know, it's on 3 minutes, what can we cover in 3 minutes? So what we read here is in English, for your fragrance, your oils are goodly, your name is a fine oil. Therefore do young women love you. Draw me after you, let us run. The king has brought me into his chambers. Let us exult and rejoice in you. Let us recount or savor your affections better than mine. Rightly, or the righteous ones do love you. So there's a kind of parallelism here between 1:3 and 1:4. It ends with, and this is where I want to just point out that in the first it's, you're so wonderful, and therefore young women love you. And then he continues, let us go. Okay, now Wutsa, let's run. And just for the parallelism, the first time she ends with young women, and the second time there's a strange word. It's called meashrim, and this is an enigmatic word that they haven't figured out what it means, but it seems to mean the righteous, and it's a masculine form. So she's saying the young women love you, and so do the righteous in masculine. So she is putting both feminine and masculine here. Just think about that. What does it mean that the young maidens love you, and what does it mean that the righteous ones love you? And there's another motif that comes up here, which is interesting. Which is draw me after you, let us run. This invitation to go out, to go away, to escape. This is going to come back again and again, and since we don't have enough time to talk about now, we will address it again, but that's a beautiful motif that we're going to see, and we're going to consider it. And in this last 1 minute, I just want to go back to the beginning, in which what happens in the beginning? It's Shir HaShirim, the greatest of all songs of the King of Peace, or of the High One, of the peaceful one. Yeshikeinu Yeshikot Pihu. It begins with a kiss. Think about that. just, I want you to ponder that idea, that this whole poem begins with a kiss. How do modern day movies end? Usually, how do they usually end? They culminate in the kiss, but here she opens with a kiss. What implications? How do you, just, anybody want to say anything before we end? I want to end that way. Anyone want to say last words about this idea of opening with a kiss? You can bring it back next week and tell me your thoughts also. You don't have to answer, it's just I threw the question out there. As I said before, I was also thinking about just questions I'm gonna ask you to think, ponder. Is this public? Is this private? Is this the most intimate, or is this the most universal? And what is the invitation to the kiss, the most intimate?
I was going to say it sort of implies both public and private, drawing into the chambers and going out and running.
Lovely. Lovely. So that's it. There's constantly these opposing images, inside, outside, private, public. There's constantly these juxtapositions, and just think about what it does, what it makes you feel, not. So that's just, I'm throwing that out there, and I hope you'll all get a chance to pick up a Bible in whatever language you want, in whatever translation. Just try to remember what this book is about. Come back with your thoughts, and we'll continue reading next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Wait, do I have until 8:30?
You don't, if you want.
I'm sorry. If the question is, I just forgot, this is my first time, so I'm like, I thought it was at 8:15, so I was rushing. We have 15 more minutes, right?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I apologize. Do you wanna stay on? Do we have energy to kind of like think a little bit more?
Sure.
Because we just started. Because I have just this opening 4 verses has worlds in it that we didn't even touch. But does anyone have any questions before we go?
How am I doing? Hello, this is Lona in Maryland.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see where you are, because technically, here you are. Yes, please speak, we can hear you.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, could you put the English back on, please?
Yes, I will. Back to here.
Okay, thank you. First of
Mhm.
all, I think this sounds like a very impetuous person who's very in touch with her sexuality. But by the end, I'm very confused about the king has brought me into his chambers. All right, so she's inviting probably a male in with her. And then it says, let us exalt and rejoice in you. Who's the you? We're going to rejoice in you with me. And then, so there's a lot of flip-flopping happening here in that makes me confused. And then it goes back to savoring affections better than wine. It goes back to that kiss, which starts the whole thing off, which is a clue to this person's personality. But then who are the righteous ones? The righteous ones love you. And what the righteous ones love you? Why do the righteous ones love you? And who is the you? There are huge question marks stuff popping up into the text at this point. And I wanted to say one thing about it being said that it's the Song of Solomon. I always felt this was a way of protecting this text, because this text doesn't fit with the going ethos. And so if you say Solomon wrote it, you're not going to destroy it or throw it out.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody wanted to protect this text, and we have to thank those somebody or somebodies who did that. So yes, I don't, by 1-4, I don't know what's happening.
Good point. Yes,
If this is a love song, I think it's a love song to God, and
mhm,
if you view it as that. I mean, there's a lot of sexuality in it, but. If you. See that it's directed toward God, I think it puts a whole new meaning into it.
okay, yeah, definitely. I leave it open, but, I don't wanna color or influence any of your interpretations, but at some point I will share it. But I will say that it all exists simultaneously. I think that there's enough room for all these interpretations. And I wanted to remind you that it opens up with a kiss, but not just with a kiss, it opens up with intoxication. So if we're starting off in an intoxicated state, how does that color the rest of the poem? Think about, does it affect, like, who's speaking and in what state of it? And if you have a question about, well, by verse number 4, I have no idea what's going on. Where are we? Who's speaking? What's going on? I'd like to suggest that you just go with it. Just go with it. Go with the experience, the sensual imagery, the sensual but also allegorical, the high spiritual possibilities of spiritual intoxication. There's so many possibilities, and depending on how you read word by word, sound by sound. And here, yes, I'm just going to address what I can, because there are a few questions raised by, Gail? Was it Gail?
Maryland.
Oh, Marilyn, sorry, because I saw the name Gail, sorry. Marilyn, sorry. Marilyn, so you did mention, okay, right, it seems to be going in and out. We had some people saying here, are we inside? Are we outside? There's a kind of like an altered state of consciousness going on, possibly. I'm throwing it out there. And then what does it mean all of a sudden? Okay, first of all, who's the king?
Mm.
Who's the king?
God,
God. Okay, God is the king.
but also these silence.
Could be Solomon. What else? Who else could it be? If all interpretations are possible in this moment.
Could be the man.
The mayor?
Yeah,
It could
someone,
be the man. Sorry.
Oh, the mayor, yes. Okay, so I'm gonna bring you a little possibility, but it comes from modern Hebrew and from modern Hebrew culture. There's kind of this kind of term of endearment that men and women use for each other. Whether it can be a loved one, it could be your son, it could be your husband, it could be your boyfriend, it could be your girlfriend. They'll call each other melech v'malka. Or a woman speaking to her friend in order to encourage her will say, "Imelka, tagishi malcha," feel like a queen. It's common parlance, like in modern Hebrew, but I would say that here as well, it's kind of like exalting the person that you're speaking to. It's a term of endearment. In the moment of love, or when you're approaching the lover, you can see them as a king. That's one possibility. But I like to say that it might not be a literal king, it might be a literal king, because there are other clues. But we really need to keep reading in order to get a better context. I know we only got 4 of them, but if you see the bigger context, we'll see how much does the king really appear, and how much is it mostly just the male and the female young lovers. So that's a question, but we're gonna, as we read through, you can develop your own opinions about it. It could be a literal king, it could be a figurative king. But if we just break it down a little bit and not attach ourselves to any particular meanings, what sensations does it create in us when we think about the royal, kingly, regal?
I just have this feeling reading it all or listening to it all, like all the doors are open suddenly, all the possibilities of running or going here to the chambers. Like, it feels like someone just said, okay, it's all possible, just open the doors.
Lovely, so just everything is you're saying that it gives you a sense of everything's open, let's run, this is the young, wild energy, right, of anything, we can take over the world, with our love. And then there's this moment where it sounds like she's speaking. Draw me after you, let us run. The king has brought me to his chambers. It sounds like the female voice. And then there was the question about Hamele, no, sorry. Naskira no, sorry. Where is it? Oh, Nagila benismecha Bach. Bach is feminine. So the woman was talking apparently. Again, everything is a question, but I'm just positing this, that she says, draw me after you, let us run, the king has brought me to chambers. And then suddenly there's this voice. We don't know if it's a woman, a man, if it's the lover, if it's soon there's going to be another character that's going to come in here. There's a third character that we are going to encounter, which is Banot Yerushalayim, the daughters of Jerusalem. They're kind of like the chorus, a female chorus of women of Jerusalem, young women. So we don't know who's saying this. Let us rejoice and exult in you. But what does it sound like? When would you say something like this?
Nagila nismacha,
Nagira benismecha.
like a simcha, like a.
Like a simcha, right? It sounds like, what kind of simcha do you think when you associate it with Song of Songs? What kind of simcha?
Marriage.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe a wedding. So maybe that's the kind of thing you would say in a wedding. So here we have the lovers coming together. The king brings one to the chambers. What is that? Sounds like a wedding, right? Possibly. But is it a literal wedding or a figurative wedding? Again, I'm asking the question. Think about it. Are these voices imagined voices, or are they voices as part of the drama? We're outside. Okay, draw me after you, let us run. That's outside. Suddenly she's in the chambers in an intimate space, and suddenly we have some voyeurs possibly saying suddenly, hey, where did they come from? These party, celebrants celebrating suddenly appear. It's puzzling, right? But I think that, again, I'm going to bring us back to this drunken state. Love is a drunken state. Being intoxicated by new love. So in the last few minutes, I'll open it up.
I'm thinking of a kaleidoscope where depending on what panel you look at, you see and experience different things.
Kaleidoscope.
Feels like that.
Yeah, like a kaleidoscopic image. Nice, I like it. I think somebody actually used that, and when I was reading some research, I think somebody used that lovely word. I heard that somewhere. Kaleidoscopic is lovely. Yes, you're having it's kind of like like altered states of consciousness where you're seeing several things at the same time, and there's an overwhelming sense. Oh, and I forgot to talk about. Look, 2 minutes, since I don't know if we're going to get back to this again. Can you find the 5 senses in the poem? Maybe that can be your assignment, and I'll talk about later. Or if you have ideas now, try. Can you find all the senses in these first lines? Think about it.
Taste and smell,
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Fragrance, you know.
Fragrance, smell, taste, touch.
Way of hearing. Insulting and rejoicing.
I mean, the first.
Exulting and rejoicing, that's like singing.
First line has song.
Song, that's right. Because we're listening. Shh. We're just enjoying
Well,
the sound.
it sounds like
Yes,
someone's speaking. Let us run. Is speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dialect.
Dialect, speaking, we're hearing voices. So we have almost all, but we have something that is, just like I said, we're drunken. Are you familiar with synesthesia? What's synesthesia?
Yeah. What is this?
Yeah,
Music behind words.
The sense is, you sense something,
It's the,
you see a sound.
yes,
You
seeing
hear
a sound. Here, that, it's happening here. I just want you to draw your attention to it. And try to find it in here. First of all, he's making me drunk with the kisses of his mouth. His affections are better than wine. We're mixing taste here with affections or with touch. Is it taste? Is it touch? Is all these things mingle? Then this is, we didn't, oh, sorry, it's already time, but we didn't talk about this, but she says your name is a fine oil. Consider that. I'm just throwing some things out that you can think about for our next discussion. To your name, which is the sound of your name, is a fine oil. Oils have, they're tactile and they have smell. But we're talking about his name. How's that? Just be with that for a little bit. I don't have any answers. I just want to notice the different synesthesia. There is more in there. Think about that when you're reading next and bring any comments you might have. Great. So we've opened with the kiss. That's it. Thank you.
Wow.
One question.
Yeah.
The presentation, the transformation. What are the capital letters supposed to be? Are those?
Okay.
Are those stressed?
So I admit I was in a hurry, so I tried to find online transliterations. And it's not the standard that they usually use in our, in some places it is, but here it's not the standard, but when you have all caps,
Yes.
that is the accent of the word.
Okay.
It's accent.
Yeah.
Or we are. Yes.
Sounded.
Thank you and good night. I'm just turning it off now. Sorry?
With the owl. Because the owl itself picks up.
Truth to tell,
Sound.
I don't really know.
Yeah.
I just did what they told me to do.
Yeah, because we told you.
Yeah.
Thank you.